What's going on, everybody? David here. And today on the show, we're going to focus on the COVID-19 cases on the rise. And we're going to listen to Dr. Sachs. Now, before I play this video, I know some people are going to be very, very upset just because he's talking about President Trump and the administration. Listen to his message. And then in the comment section, let me know. Do you agree with him? Do you disagree with him? I think he has some really valid points. And so we're going to go ahead and play that. But before we do, if you guys can do me a favor, please hit the like button. It does help with the YouTube algorithm. Also, please subscribe to the channel. Hit the little bell notification. That way you'll get notified anytime we put out a video. All right, so we're going to go ahead and play this. This was on a CNN, Brianna Keeler's show. Let's go ahead and take a look.
Op-ed, Professor Jeffrey Sachs writes, Donald Trump has surrendered without ever joining the battle. I have no doubt he will be remembered as the greatest presidential failure in American history. Jeffrey Sachs.
Wow, that is pretty strong. That's a pretty strong statement.
Is joining us now to discuss. He's a professor of sustainable development and a professor of health policy and management at Columbia University. Dr. Sachs, thank you for being with us. You say that President Trump will be remembered as the greatest presidential failure in American history. Why is that?
230,000 deaths to date, roughly 1,000 deaths each day now. And they say we're not even trying, as the chief of staff said yesterday. The imbecility of it is boundless. The incompetence of it is unbelievable, because it has been clear that there are ways to approach this for months, as other countries are successfully doing. And we have just about the worst outcomes of the entire world, taking into account the size of our population, that is measuring cases per million or deaths per million or the number of new infections. It's out of control in this country because they have not done anything right since the very start of this. Lies, confusion, this idea we have to keep the economy open as if that's the only thing to think about. And so it's been one fool after another. And here we are with mass suffering in the United States today.
And I mean, you outline how there's a false choice between the economy and between health. You make that very clear in your op-ed. You also say that how you react to a public health crisis like this is basic, that every first-year health student would have known what to do. So how does that make his pandemic response that much more egregious, that it's not like reinventing the wheel? I mean, this was basic stuff.
In fact, this was all known and knowable in March. I wrote it every few days since then, essentially. But countries as varied as Japan, Korea, Australia, New Zealand, they've shown for months this can be brought under control through basic rapid testing, case tracing, wearing face masks, safe isolation of people, safe workplaces, stopping large super spreader events. This is the basic checklist. But Trump he's really such an idiot. I'm sorry to say it because he's president of the United States, but the complete ignorance, but also the arrogance not to listen to people who know. And it's not about politics, about 230,000 American dead, 8.9 million people with confirmed infections so far, and many of them living with long-term disabilities, with brain impairments. It's unbelievable, the incompetence and the malevolence that went along with it, because as experts were trying to say day after day, week after week, do this, complete shutdown of thinking by this president. Maybe that's just beyond him, but this is really something we've never seen before in this country.
You're watching how the vice president is now reacting here. He has been exposed to people with coronavirus. He has 5 of his closest aides, including his chief of staff and his body man. What should he be doing? And what does it mean that he's not doing that?
He should be self-isolating, but the failure that they couldn't, even after the first White House outbreak, stop this shows that they don't take any precautions. It's imbecility. I mean, really, you cannot account for this at any level of responsibility. But I don't know what it is they're really thinking, because all those countries that I mentioned that have had success, they have the economy open. So the whole idea, well, we're doing it so we can keep the economy open, is exactly backwards. How can you keep an economy open with surging pandemics? You can't. You keep the economy open by controlling the pandemic. But Trump's idea all along is never tell the truth, never acknowledge, never learn. And that's what we have today, which is say whatever you want, we're turning the corner, whatever it is. It's complete fantasy world for his followers. I don't know how they can still listen to this, because they see around them in their neighborhoods, in their families, with their friends, with their parents, their children, their siblings. People are getting infected all over this country. And the president, the vice president are out there as if nothing's happening. And the chief of staff is saying we don't control it, we can't contain it, because obviously his statement reflected this fundamental ignorance to this day that of course it can be contained.
Yeah, it's a sad situation, Dr. Sachs. Thank you so much for being with us.
All right, so that was the doctor there, Professor Sachs. And I want to know what you guys think about that. Now, I understand. Now, some people, if you support Trump, you might look at it and say, well, this is just fake news or whatever you want to say. But you have to listen to some of the things that he's saying. When it comes to we have numbers. We have a death toll. So when we compare that death toll to other countries in the world, we're not looking good at all. We're at the top of that list. So we have to get to a point where we realize, look, there's certain things that we can do that will slow the spread. Yes, we're not going to completely control the spread, but we can slow it down. And at this point, that's our best option. Slow it down. And then once we have a vaccine, then we can work towards completely getting rid of it. But we're not going to turn the corner if we don't slow down. It's just like when you're turning the corner. It's a good, and President Trump is saying turning the corner. When you turn a corner, you slow down. And we need to slow this spread down in order to turn that corner. So it's a situation right now, and I think the professor had some really, really valid points. Another thing he's talking about Mike Pence, Vice President Mike Pence. He shouldn't be doing rallies right now. He should be isolating. And we know this. We all know this. We're looking at it. Any of us, I don't care if you're an essential worker or not. If you have someone close to you get COVID-19, the recommendation is going to be for you to isolate. Doesn't matter what job you're working in. And so they're using the whole CDC guideline says that essential workers can continue to work, I guess. But if you're going to a campaign, really? A campaign rally, is that really essential? It's not essential. I could see it if you were doing stuff to get maybe a stimulus package for us, or you were doing something that related directly to the pandemic. That's something different. But if you're going to campaign rallies, it just doesn't make any sense to me at all. That should not be happening. There was a video yesterday of President Trump out on the rope line signing autographs on hats and being closer than 6 feet. Without mask, and he didn't have a mask. His supporters didn't have masks either. It's just crazy to me to think that we're in a pandemic right now and our leadership is doing things like this. These are things that don't have to be done. If you want to autograph a hat, that's fine. Have some hats, not their hats. Have your own hats, autograph them, and give them to them. He's taking hats from his supporters. They probably had them on their heads, sweating. It's, going from their hands to his hands, back to their hand. It's during a pandemic. It's just, I do not understand the logic in that. And so I want to know what you guys think down below. So let me know. Sound off. I know there's going to be a lot of comments on this video. because some people do get upset when you criticize the president. But we have to look at the reality here. Would you want a family member, your family member, let's say this was your father and he's in his 70s and he's out there going to all these big rallies and participating in signing autographs and handing them off. I mean, come on. This is stuff that you would not want your family member to do because of the situation that we're in. So we should look at the president and say, look, it's unnecessary at this point. It really is. So let me know down below. If you guys like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe for more, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye.